Yeah, brought to you, powered by toast and jam at the dining room table as I'm in lockdown. No end in sight yet, is there? Not what Cornwall's tourism industry wanted to hear from the Prime Minister Boris Johnson.
I sympathise very much with everybody in the tourism industry who's taken such a hit. And it's been one of our jobs to make sure that we look after businesses as far as we possibly can through our loans, our support schemes, to our furloughing schemes for workers. You will come back. We are going to make sure that the UK bounces back as strongly and as fast as we possibly can, but we've got to be sensible. I think the public have been very sensible so far in staying away as far as they in obeying the advice. It's vital, as I say, that does not fray, and we don't see people starting to disregard what we're saying.
Ros Pritchard is from the British Holiday and Home Parks Association. She's written to the Prime Minister.
The key messages, one is that we're seasonal businesses. We've lost Easter. We've definitely lost the Maybank holidays. We earn all our money between Easter and October. So even if the country comes back with social distancing, we've basically lost 2020. So we've asked him to support us through until spring, Easter next year, because otherwise, even if tourism businesses survive through to the autumn, they're going to go under next winter. And one of the ways he could do that would be to give us flexibility on the furlough scheme. We are so grateful for all that the government's done to support us, but the furlough system is an all or nothing inflexibility, and small businesses can't lose access to essential skills for 3 weeks at a stretch, which is what happens if they furlough their team. That means they've still got costs ongoing, which is just hastening their demise. So we're begging the Prime Minister for a specific package for seasonal tourism businesses and to look at small businesses in particular.
Let's talk about this a bit more now. On the line, we've got Andrew Baragwana, who is the owner of the Air Holiday Park in St Ives. Good morning, Andrew. How would you describe things as they stand for you?
Well, good morning. At the moment, of course, we're in a state of great uncertainty. What I do know is that my income for March reduced by 53% this year compared with last year, March. And in April, it went down by 96% to almost nothing. We now don't know when we'll be able to reopen. And I thought maybe the end of June would be the earliest. And then I expect a sort of phased reintroduction of tourism. I think there's no point thinking we're going to have sort of like a grand national start when we're off and it's just back to normal. So, yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty this season.
What about the point that Ros was making there from the British Holiday and Home Parks Association, that fundamentally, if you lose this summer or have a very meagre summer, that is a whole year, really, before you can actually start to recover. Can you survive that?
I haven't done that calculation. I probably could not survive without some support. Normally, by the time we get to the end of July, parks' income starts to fall away because you'd have taken most of your holiday balances for August and getting into September. And then, of course, the income reduces greatly from October through until end of March, when you start taking reasonable money again. So, yeah, it's a question of taking money during the summer, which we then kind of spend over the winter on refurbishments and such like. So if we lose this summer, it's going to be very lean indeed.
We heard Boris Johnson saying there that he will be giving more details over the next few weeks. And I think next week we can expect a kind of menu of options for removing lockdown gradually, if not the specific measures that he will take and when. What would you like to see, bearing in mind we all don't want a second spurt of this virus?
Clearly, there are going to be a number of options. And one idea that I have proposed would be that you could perhaps travel for leisure reasons within your own NHS district, or perhaps they would introduce a mileage limit. So maybe you could travel 100 miles from home. Clearly, testing would have to continue to see if there was a spike in infections. And if not, then maybe the travel distance limit could be increased incrementally, perhaps by 50 or 100 miles. But to think that we'd suddenly have a complete relaxation of all limits and people can travel from anywhere all over the country or even internationally, I think is unrealistic.
How would that help you? Do you get many visitors who come from you sort of a near travel distance, within 100 miles, within 50 miles?
We do, yes. We get quite a lot of customers from within Cornwall. You get people with their own motor caravan. They don't necessarily have to travel very far. Many of those vehicles have their own onboard facilities, so they might only travel 20 or 30 miles and have a weekend here in St Ives. And they can pretty well self-isolate themselves, because we wouldn't need to open our shower and toilet facilities necessarily. Certainly not initially, because they would have their own on-board facilities. We have rental caravans here as well. And of course, again, families come down and pretty much isolate themselves in that caravan. They can go out walking, go down to the beach and all the normal things. But of course, we would assume that pubs and restaurants may not be fully open, so it would be a restricted reopening anyway.
Be nice to see something, wouldn't it? As long as it's safe. Andrew, thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. We really appreciate it. Andrew Baragwanath, the owner of the Air Holiday Park in St Ives.